Okay. Oh, I hit the wrong button, so this is going to be two videos instead of one. But that's the kind of people that we're electing into office. These people that are just a bunch of smooth talkers that are only interested in themselves, and they're crooks. Now, the other thing that these people are doing is that uh, they're the victims. They're really irresponsible. Like, aside from the fact that they're financially irresponsible, they're cowards. They're moral cowards, uh, and they're simply irresponsible. I mean, how would you feel? What would you do? What would you do if some person came up to you and said, we've got this legal contract, and you've got to sign it, and you can't read it. What would you think? What would you do? There are laws against people doing stuff like this to other people. They're coming up to you and saying, hey, we've got this legal contract, and it obligates you, and it obligates a lot of other people to do things. But we're not. We've got an emergency right now, and you have to sign it, and that's all there is to it. But this is something a bully would do, and this is something that your congressmen are doing. All this stuff, these people that have been using to, like, empower these people to anally rape me, uh, it's all stuff that have been forced through Congress by bullies, and these congressmen are just like, well, hey, can we continue to make the money that we're making and keep our jobs if we do this? And we're endangering Americans' lives here. Well, we'll do it in secret. Can we do it in secret? And they're just like, sure, go ahead. And it's like, and they're the kind of people that will just be bullied into doing these awful things, to endangering the public. So they're not the kind of people that care about our lives. They're not. And like I said, if they can do this to me, they can do it to you. They can do it to your family, and they can isolate you so that you can't protect yourself against your family. Oh, now I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about was uh, the Second Amendment and your rights to defend yourself. Now, of course, I just think Clarence Thomas. I mean, he's one of the only people that'll come out and say, I was right. I was totally right. The reason there's a Second Amendment is because there's always going to be bullies that get in office. I mean, it, for instance, I mean, it just happens. They can't. People that are hiring people in the militia and police departments, they may be very good people, but they can make mistakes and they can hire bullies. And what happens is when you get bullies, they'll do things like they'll shake people down. Like, you can get policemen or people in the militia or national security that will, they're the kind of people that will take advantage of their office to shake people down and get money from them, or anally rape them, or persecute their personal enemies. This is something that's always taken place. And this is why they had the Second Amendment. The Bill of Rights in the Constitution, after free speech and freedom of religion, the next thing they wanted was people to defend themselves. This is a very important right. That this is there. There have always been people that try to take over government and bully people, and the idea of now they want everybody to register their guns. Yeah, like now these people can find out. The bullies in the national security can find out whether you've got any weapons or not. So, like, if they decide they want to come into your home, and, like, there was that blonde senator, I can't remember her name, but they came into her home, and woke her up in the middle of the night. If you've read the Gulag Archipelago, I can't pronounce it, but Alexander Solzhenitsyn wrote, this is what the communists do. They when they want to get you, they come in the middle of the night while you can't even get your trousers on, You know, this is how they're just the sneakiest, lowest bunch of group of people that but this this is what they did to her. They came uh, I mean, it interrupted her. She was some kind of dangerous threat to national security. I mean, she's obviously, just she said she described these people. I mean, they acted as if she came to the door with a machine gun waving it around. You know, and she's a person who believes in the Second Amendment. Uh, and it's like. Obviously, like if you have a right to have firearms, by the same kind of logic, you shouldn't have to register your weapons with the government. It's so that so that bullies, and of course the bullies want this to happen. And of course they're still making these secret laws, and this stuff is going on in secret, and these congressmen are still allowing themselves to be bullied. Of course, we can get rid of them and get them out of office, which is what I'm talking about right now. These people that are promising something for nothing, they're the enemies. They are our enemies. They are the enemies to the fabric of society that makes our nation great, that makes our people a moral and good people. They're against all of us. They're our enemies. They are the reason why our nation is in such great trouble that we're in. And the people in the media, the people in the media that are behind them, that don't tell you what their resume is. They don't focus on the facts. What's behind these people, what they've done before, what you can expect from them if they get into office or into power or appointed. These people are obscuring the truth. These people are obscuring the facts. It's like you know exactly what these people are going to do if you simply look into them. I mean, Donald Trump, he was a guy who he would go to beauty pageants and use his money and power to get into the dressing rooms and molest the women at the beauty pageants. And this was something that was known. I mean, this was something that was known before he elected. But does the mainstream media pay any attention to this? No, they don't pay any attention to this. The mainstream media is something you should reject. It's a waste of time. It's nothing but more bullying. It's the kind of bullying that starts when you're in school, and the government schools that are where they bully you. If you don't go along with what the teacher says. It's just more bullying is the mainstream news. And just don't waste any time listening to the mainstream news. It's bullying, it's brainwashing. It's what was done to you when you were in school. It was what was done to me when I was in school. And don't waste any of your time with it. It's nothing but a lot of bullying by teachers and now people. I don't care. I don't care what the bullies want me to think. I want to know what the truth is, and I'll tell you, I'm one of the freest person. Even if I can't find out what the honest news is going on. I know pretty much what's going on. I know that there are crooked congressmen running this country. It's been that way for years. Now, I guess another thing I wanted to talk about. I haven't really been talking very long in this video. It's only 9 minutes. Why did the CIA and all these national security bureaus and so forth come into being? Why did they come into being? Well, it was around the time of the Cold War, and when we won when we invented the nuclear bomb. And what it was at that time, what our enemies would do is if they wanted to find out some secret that was our government, federal. Of course, the main thing our federal government is charged with is defending all the states, like unifying us if we're under attack or if we need to go to war, which is the primary thing that they're about. It's what they're for. So that's a good thing. But what would happen is our enemies would just sponsor some corrupt congressman to get into power, and then what they would do is they would do their espionage through them. They would find out what was being done, that was our secrets. So what they did was. They decided to create the CIA to keep the secrets from Congress, but what ended up happening is all the secrets are really secret, because then you can't even go to Congress, and now you've got a situation where you've got the people in national security that are planning on not retaliating against a nuclear attack, and then even the congressmen are like, when they have these high tech surveillance surveillance tech bunkers that the congressmen aren't even allowed to know about. So if they're so they can these people can totally betray us. And even the congressmen that put them in power, and they can sit. These people who are the crooks can sit in these bunkers and watch our government destroyed, and give us over to the Chinese, and the people and congressmen don't even know a thing about it. That they don't know. They don't even know what's being done. But what it is the previous situation, where at least you could, if Congress knew what was going on, at least, and there was a corrupt congressman, at least you could go to them. At least you could investigate them. At least you could trace the trail of information to what was being leaked to our enemies. At least you could do something about it. But now what's going on is you've got these national security agencies, which are basically an extortion scheme, because they've undone the chain of command, and you can't report your superior, the wrongdoings of your superior officers, to his superior officers, which is what is done in a chain of command. And now you've got this situation where there's no accountability at all. Before, so, a lot of people will say, like, if you're trying to say, well, why is everything such a mess? Why do we need these national security agencies? And there was never a good reason, and it would be better if we got rid of them, because at least there would be some accountability. There would have to be. Now there's absolutely no accountability. There's no chain of command. I've been trying to find out who these people are for so many years. It's 2023, and I think they were watching me maybe it's been almost 20 years, but anyway, there are still people. Anyway, this is what's going on. And we really don't need these government bureaus. We don't need any of them. We don't, especially the national security. They're the most dangerous, and they're bullying our congressmen, and we've got people bullying our bullies in our educational system, bullies in our media, and they're trying, and they don't have. They still haven't come up with one thing that I've done to deserve all this surveillance, and they've killed many people. They've sexually molested and raped members of my family, and terrorized them. They don't have anything on them. This is what's going on. We need to get rid of these congressmen. The federal government is the problem. The federal government is the problem, and these people who we've elected into office, the people we trust to inform us about them, the people who we trust to entertain us and inform us about what's going on, they're all the bad guys, and they don't want us to have weapons to defend ourselves against them. they they're the bad guys. They're the ones we need to get rid of. Uh, uh, the people who run the two-party system, and I've said this many times. I'll say it again. The founding fathers were just hoping nobody would resort to the party system. There's plenty of literature around that'll tell you, the founding fathers felt that the real problem with with England and everything, the real failure over there was because of party politics, and just the awful mess that party politics gets everything into. So you, you have all these special party politics. The thing that's really it's uh, divide and conquer. One of the Romans, some of the Romans would say that. That's what it's all about. Party politics causes divisions among people. It ununifies people, and it's an awful mess. And people need to think about the issues and what's important. Uh, anyway, that's what. Now let's see. I got started here at 1:30, and it's 2 o'clock right now, and I was hoping to get some sleep. Uh, I'm so grateful of. I love our founding fathers. I found out that I was related to George Washington, which was really exciting for me. Uh, the kind of men, they didn't believe in nobility. They also felt that that was a real problem. Uh, what happens is in the nobility, like a lot of the times, this is back when you had kings and stuff like that. They would do things like they would invent these charters, and what it was these nobles, these quote nobles, you know, they would be buddies with the king. They might be related to him, or they might know somebody. They would be able to gain access to him, and they would invent these charters, and it's the same kind of thing as uh, these bureaus that are run today. They would try. It would grant them sort of power over a little fiefdom, a little where they would have power in the private market, and it would make them sort of a monopoly over everything, and that's what these nobles would do. They would, and of course, it's their nobility. It's their nobility that gives. That's why the king would grant them. And of course, today, what would you? Well, they're experts. They're experts. Obama would say, "Well, talk to experts." There is nobody that is more self-serving and justifying than these people who work for these bureaus. And once these bureaus get started, and my favorite one is the Social Security, because it just doesn't make any money at all. It's just a waste of time, and it's just an utter and complete failure. And there are it could easily be. There's all kinds of private institutions that would replace it. That do so much better, that make money, and are going to be able to deliver. In the future. And of course, they keep saying that Social Security is never going to work. It's not going to be there. But anyway, these things are just a failure, and so what it is we have these experts, and the thing is like these experts and so forth. Now you're going to put somebody in charge of the FDA. The other thing is these things, they just don't make money, But you're going to put somebody like Fauci in charge of the FDA, and tell everybody, for their own good, that they can't work, that they can't have a job. And of course, maybe your life depends on your livelihood, it doesn't really make sense, to tell people they can't work because for their own good, because maybe they're not going to be able to live, if they don't go to work. But anyway, you've got these experts, and what it is these people in Congress or in president are making these appointments. What do they know? Are they doctors? Do they know what's best for our health? How do they know? How do they know if this guy is qualified to be the doctor in command, over everybody's health? They don't know anything. These, you've got all these congressmen and stuff that are like saying, well, we need to regulate this business and we need to regulate that, and and what they're doing is they're going to get all their buddies in charge of regulating them and taking away their money, and it's like they don't know anything about this business. They don't know anything about it at all, and they're talking about severely hampering them and doing things to them, so that's what all these bureaus are about, is getting these people's buddies in positions of power, and see, the other thing about them is yeah, I didn't get to it yet, but Social Security, it doesn't make any money. There's a good possibility people, what they do is they just keep increasing taxes and stuff like that to keep it going, and they lose money, and there are other institutions that do so much better, that are making money, and you can demonstrate, that, well, we could just require people to put money into these private institutions, and then that might work. But what it is you've got these people that have all these talking points, and who say, yes, we need this thing and we've got to have it. And what happens is every single person that gets hired by Social Security knows these talking points, and you can demonstrate you can demonstrate that these organizations are just a waste of time. But they'll all these people, they're gonna vote for the politicians that keep Social Security in business, that get them more money, and what it is they all know, from the person who works at the top of Social Security to the guy that cleans the toilets for Social Security, they all know the talking points. And if you start talking to them about what's going to happen if we do away with Social Security, they can tell you all of it. They can tell you all of it. And what it is these people, it's like a cancer. It's like you get these, you start these organizations and you can't get rid of them, because there are all these people that are in government that want it to continue, and keep it going, even though it's a waste, because they're like leeches. And this is the way those people are. They really are like that. I mean, Thomas Sowell, he talked about, he had a job, and he for the government, and he came up with an idea of how to figure out whether they were really doing anything for it. And he could tell, he was talking about it, and you could tell right when these, you're talking about this thing, and what happens is they look at you like, this guy's gonna get us all fired, and it's like, that's what's wrong with the federal government. It's a bunch of people that aren't really doing anything for anyone, and just want to keep their jobs, and it's like a cancer. It just keeps growing and growing, and it's like you can't get rid of it. But anyway, we need to get some politicians in there that really realize that we need to get rid of these things. These things are the federal government. It's not supposed. They never intended. The founding fathers, the main job of the federal government is for defense and to keep the states from being attacked. Like if suppose some country would want to, like suppose Mexico would want to start taking over Texas or Arizona. Well, the rest of the states would say, hey, we're going to support Arizona or whatever, and that's why they wanted the states for defense. That was the reason, they originally unified the states, was to fight against the foreign threats and to keep the states free. And and we have. See, the other thing is like they want to establish a state police department, and that's why the media it's so obvious that the media is involved because they're against the police. It's like the police are answerable to you. Your local police department is answerable to you. It's under a small government. If it's the city of Phoenix, is like the police department, is answerable to us. It's there to protect us. And it could protect us against the federal government. It's done a good job of protecting as much as possible, of protecting us against the federal government. And you want someone who's answerable to you, and they want to establish, a federal police, and if you look at what happened in Germany, that's what. That's what they did. They established a secret police, the Geschäftsstaatspolizei, the Gestapo. If you look at your history, and they want to, establish that, and control everybody, and it's all about bullying and keeping, and it's just taking money away from the people who are willing to work and giving it to people that are their buddies, in government. It's just like a big extortion scheme. It's like there's so many people that are like crooks, and they want to get involved in a scam. And right now, the government, like the government looks like the best scam to get into. And we don't need these people in government. We don't need, look at these congressmen's resumes. What have they done in the past? What does it look like they're going to do? Don't waste any time listening to the mainstream news. They're part of the problem. Anyway, I think I've talked about everything. Now, I was hoping to, let's see, 2:11. I was hoping to wake up at 3:30 and go to work again. Anyway, I say hello to my family. I know that they're very concerned about me. I love you guys, and I thank you all. And I'm grateful to all my friends. I'm grateful to all you loyal Americans. I'm grateful. I think about the time we're in here, and this is a time where like more people have been unified in prayer. Uh, uh, on this planet and in the entire universe than have ever been before. So this is a really exciting time in history of the universe. So this is a very exciting time to be alive. Uh, uh, anyway, I'm grateful to all you people. I've got a time. I want to give a testimony of Jesus Christ at the end of this thing. I know that, well, like I've said before, he bore the shame of the world. He really did. He bore my shame. The priesthood has borne shame for me. I feel so sorry for these poor people, the surveillance. I think that they fell into bad company when they were young, and they just got involved in really bad things. They got addicted to bad behaviors, and uh, they just don't know. I mean, like when your father anally rapes you, your father seems like an important person, and a lot of times, these people they don't they feel like it makes them important. They feel powerful. They feel like they're in control of their lives. When they're anally raping other people that expose them, or just to satisfy their perverse sexual urges, and I feel badly for them, and I'm hoping that many of these people, when they get into jail, at least they'll be able to get treatment. At least there'll be some doctor or some kind person that talks to them. When I was in jail, I noticed a lot of these guards that work in jail become perverted. There was this one police officer. I could tell. I don't know. You hear about these things, and I don't know how it happens, but there are these people that have become very sexually aroused when they look at another person's feet, and they managed, like Surveillance managed to do this to this police officer, and he was convinced. The guards at the place, you have to undress in front of them because they change. They give you a new change of clothes, and he was convinced that I was displaying my feet to him so that he would be sexually aroused, and how can I disrobe? How can I change my clothes without without him seeing my feet? Well, how did this guard? I think about this, and how did this guard ever become open to a situation where something like that could happen to him? How could he? Well, what it is in any position, in any job, you're gonna be looking for companionship. Everybody looks for human companionship in their job, and it doesn't matter whether you're whatever you are. You might be if you're a prison guard. Sometimes a lot of these prison guards, they're decent guys, and they want to be friendly with the inmates, and that's, they're hoping for some kind of emotional connection with them. And that's how I think that's how it happened. The inmates somehow perverted this guy. I don't know how they did it. I don't have all the answers here, but you have to watch out for these people. Oprah, she has these. She likes to do these specials where she demonstrates, how compassionate she is, and that's a good thing. But she'll go to these people that are like in solitary confinement and say, oh, these poor people, we should, if we only had more compassion for these people, maybe they'd be better people. Well, what happens is, Oprah should have talked to the prison guards. She should have talked to the prison guards, because if she had, they would tell her that these guys, like they're people that are just extortionists and victimizers, and the reason they don't allow people like them, many of these people out in general population, is they victimize their fellow inmates. Even in a situation where you've got guards surrounding all these guys, there are people that will victimize their fellow inmates and anally rape them or extort them in other ways, and that's how they relate to people in social situations, and they can't. They're addicted to it, and they're not going to get over it. So I would just. There are some people, they really need to be in solitary confinement. It's not for it's not to reform them. They're not going to reform. They've demonstrated that they're not going to reform, and they need to be put there to protect other people. And even people in jail need to be protected by these people. That's why they put them in solitary confinement. I was in solitary confinement there, but I wanted to be because I knew they were going to put me in with bad people that were going to molest me. But I'm the kind of person that could take it. I mean, I have a certain degree of emotional independence. But anyway, I've covered a lot of issues here. Uh, uh, this is a very exciting time to be alive in the universe, in the world. Uh, anyway, I'm going to see if I can't. I got some good rest tonight, and I'm going to see if I can get some more. It's going to take a while to download. This probably won't upload until I get to till I'm up and working again until 3:30. When you're separated from your fellow man for a long time, you don't realize how much you really care for them and how much you really like being around them. Even if you're kind of emotionally independent like me and you can get along without that kind of thing for some time, but I love you guys, I really do, and I think there's kind of a brotherhood of man, and we all care for each other, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to be a human being, and be alive in the world, and even have a connectedness through a cell phone. The only way that you can talk to them is a one-way communication through a cell phone. Uh, uh, I'm praying for the bad people that are trying to victimize me, and I'm praying that I don't know. I'm just praying for their souls. I know that they're going to end up in solitary confinement, and I'm praying that people will be safe from them. I'm praying that other people will learn from their examples. I'm praying that they'll be treated as humanely as possible. I'm praying that other people will learn from their example. I'm praying that we make up laws, that we change our system of law to protect people from these things, that our government will be safe, that praying for our children, that we'll be able to raise them in a world that they'll be free from this kind of thing, that we won't have to tell them what anal rape is, because there's a danger that they'll be raped by these people, or even raped by their fellow students in school. Anyway, that's what I'm praying, and I love you guys. I know that Jesus Christ is the reason for every single joy that we have. I know that I'd be as bad as one of these anal rapists. I know that I'd be every bit as bad as them if it weren't for Jesus Christ, that they'd make me into something, that I'd be in an eternal hell if it wasn't for him, that we'd all would be, and that every joy we have is due to our Savior Jesus Christ and his work for us. I know that he loves me. I know that he's my best friend. I know that he's with me in spirit. I know that I'm one in him with all the other good Christians, and all the other good people, and people of different religions in the world. And I'm just a simple guy, and I'm not the I'm a lot like the rest of you, and I know that many of you, if you're in the same situation I was in, you'd be doing exactly the same thing as I'm doing. God bless you. I love you. I miss you. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.